to the Act Two podcast, a podcast for the real life working screenwriter. I am Tasha Hugh.
And I'm Josh Hallman.
And we are Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter, of which this podcast is just one of the things we do. So thank you for joining us here. If you join our Patreon, by the way, guys, it's $10 for the highest tier. And you get access to our chat where, I was just chatting with people last night about what's up with their writing world, what kind of questions they might have. We also have Zoom Q&As that you then qualify for if you're in that tier every month, where we talk about movies or we talk about a spec that just sold and why that it sell. And we talk about things like that in our Zoom every month. And it's great. It's just honestly great because it creates community. And if you are someone who feels like you are separated from your community of writers, or you don't have one at wherever you live, or you are in LA and you still don't feel like you have community, like, this is definitely the place for you. I love it. I love talking to all these writers and getting nerdy about writing in the chat.
I was reading your chat. I was like, hell yeah. It feels
Yeah.
like it sometimes it might feel like it's coming from me. It's like Tasha's doing all the work.
Yeah, I have to always make sure I'm like, because it just says Act Two whenever we respond. It's like, this is Tasha.
No. It was great. I love the chat.
Yeah, it's great.
It's been a minute.
I know, we're not used to it anymore. We had a bunch of interviews. Some of them have come out, some have yet to come out. And so whenever we have interviews, we never get to chat.
Yeah.
This is kind of like our return to chatting episode.
I like it.
If you don't want to sign up for our Patreon, that's okay. We also love your questions and any topic suggestions, anything that's coming up in your own writing life. Please DM us at ActTwoWriters@gmail.com, all spelled out, or on any of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all the things. And we'll read your messages and we'll try to talk about it in depth on the podcast. And also, if you have any follow-up questions to any of the episodes that we do, please do that as well, because we may not cover everything in so kind of short of an episode, and you may listen to something and be like, wait, why didn't they talk more about this? Or I would love if they delved more into this part of that topic. So please send us an email about that as well, and we're happy to do that.
All right. I'm just getting excited over here. This entire time for the last 2 minutes, I've been thinking, do we just do a full episode on summer movies because it's our favorite thing?
It's our favorite thing. I don't feel like we can jam it into a are you excited summer movies? Like, summer movies help. It's like it's the midpoint turning point for our industry is summer movies. Like, it defines the year.
Yeah, that's true. And we're off to a good start. We've had Devil Wears Prada 2 is crushing it. Michael crushing it. Mando and Grogu just came out.
I feel like Project Hail Mary started it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we had Mario.
Yeah.
And there's this movie called Backrooms that just came out. Okay. Well.
Yeah. I'm going to see Top Gun tonight. I know but like definitive summer movie just from the 80s.
You're not doing the back-to-back?
I want to do the back-to-back, but I'm also old. So I have to see the movie after Paul gets off work. And then by that time, it's like time to go to bed.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to cry in Top Gun?
I've seen it in theaters before. Because, it came out when I was like 4. But I've seen it as an adult in theaters before when they re-released it. And I absolutely cried as soon as the music started at the beginning.
I recently read the first few pages of Maverick.
Ooh.
And it's a little different. I was like, this is different from the movie. And it was just a reminder of how things change.
Ooh, send that to me.
I can do that.
All right. Well, I have some this week's in writings that I would like to talk to you about.
Let's go.
This week in writing.
Have you seen Sheep Detectives?
No, that's another summer movie. God, I wish we were doing that. No, I have not seen it.
Listen.
Awesome.
This movie. Highest rated Hugh Jackman movie of all time.
There's no fucking way.
It is.
Excuse my
On
language.
Rotten Tomatoes, it is the highest rated Hugh Jackman movie of all time. It's real good, you guys. It's based on a book, like a German book. Craig Mazin adapted it. Lord and Miller produced it.
Oh, Lord and Miller produced it?
Yeah. Like they're on a roll. They're the best.
I just want to say real quick. Hugh Jackman was in Logan. He was in Prisoners. He was in The Greatest Showman. He's Wolverine.
Prestige. Yeah,
The
this is
Prestige.
my point.
What are some Midwest moms going to like Rotten Tomatoes? This is insanity. All
How
right, go
dare
ahead.
you? This is actually good.
I know. I wanted to see it.
I think I texted you this, but guys, there were grown women in the aisle in front of me sobbing.
Oh,
Like like sobbing. I was crying for sure. Paul reached over at one point and held my hand because we were experiencing something like truly moving together.
really?
At the end, people were clapping, and you'd think, oh, it's a theater with a bunch of kids. 0 kids in our theater. 0 kids.
Interesting.
And then on top of that, there's like a repeated joke in the movie. As we're leaving, you could just hear people talking to strangers and like repeating the joke back to just complete strangers. And it was like one of those like just really precious movie going experiences. So you guys, it's probably coming out of theaters soon. If you do have it in a theater, go see it because it will be a really fun experience to have with other people as well. But it's also just like such a fun, good, heartwarming movie. It's very cathartic.
Yeah, I really wanted to see it. I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, this looks good. And then we sent my daughter with a babysitter one night when my wife and I went out. And then we were driving and I was telling my daughter, I was like, Amelia, I really want to see Sheep Detectives. And then like 10 seconds later, she was like, yeah, so-and-so's the killer. And I was like, Amelia, you can't do that.
Oh,
She's like, what? What is it? I was like, that's called a spoiler. She had no idea. I was like, you can't do that.
that sounds like that's your fault.
It is. It
Poor
totally
parenting.
is my fault. I know. And it's our thing. I should have seen the movie with her.
You should have seen the movie with her. Yeah. I mean, was the dinner even worth it? How much more fun would seeing Sheep Detectives with your daughter have been? Sorry, Nicole. Take it back.
No, it's true. This is one of those moments in life where you look back and you're like, wow, I just went and had dinner instead of going to a movie with my daughter where I could have bonded. Cool.
I feel like just a couple of months ago you were crying because she went to go see a movie without you.
Yeah, now I'm sending her ass on her way. Get out. All right, well, I want to go see it.
All right.
Listen, I'm going to piggyback off of this. I know we've talked about this over the series of episodes on the podcast. But speaking of good things that are in the world right now, I've been watching Widow's Bay on Apple. Have you watched it yet?
Not yet. I think it's next.
Okay. First of all, Apple TV, just crushing it right now. They've just got good stuff. It's really good. I love it. It's this blend of horror and comedy and there's certain characters, and I feel like it's kind of its own thing that just exists. And I'm really excited about it, and I want you to watch it because it's one of those things where I think if, as a writer, if you were to pitch this, like people would like not be on board right away. It takes a specific person to be like, I get that, and I think I can see how this goes.
It's interesting you say that because I was talking to my brother about it, and he said kind of like he's clearly like not the audience for it. He was like, yeah, I watched the first episode or like half of the first episode and couldn't really get into it. And he was like, did you know it's a comedy? And that's a funny question because the trailers absolutely do not suggest that it's funny, but reviews I've seen have been like, oh, this horror comedy. And I was like, wait, what? It's a horror comedy? It is a weird marketing campaign. It's like it's very intentional. I feel like they wanted to kind of trick people into going to see it. I feel like it poses itself as like a Mike Flanagan-esque show, and then I'm assuming I'm going to see it and be like, wait, it's funny?
Yeah, no, it's so weird. It's like Office-y. It's like
weird.
The Shining-y, like The Shining-y.
That's cool. That's a cool combo.
It's just weird. I can't even describe. I've been trying to like pinpoint exactly what the pitch would be, and I still don't know what it is. So I'm so curious if anyone worked on it. Like if for the writer, I'd love to know, like going in and talking, be like, this is the pitch. This is the feel. This is the vibe. This is how this is going to turn out. But I know the creator is a comedy writer.
Yeah, cool. We got to finish Shrinking, and then that'll probably be next.
It's so creepy. It's getting better, by the way. I also wasn't as into the first episode, and it's just gotten better.
Okay, that's good to know. Got to get over the hurdle, which is so weird, by the way, because the pilot is where so much attention gets paid to obviously hook people because, of course, we all know if you don't like the pilot, you're probably not going to stick around. So that is kind of interesting. My next one is that I saw Remarkably Bright Creatures, this Sally Field Netflix movie with Alfred Molina as an octopus.
Okay.
And it's just because Netflix was like shoving it down my throat. And I was like, I have to do some work that only requires half my brain. Might as well put this like, I haven't seen Sally Field in so long. It'd be lovely to go see her and
Mm-hmm.
just put her on in the background. And then I was hooked. And it's, it's like not the best movie I've ever seen, but you guys, it's really heartwarming. And it's just, again, so good to see Sally Field doing Sally Field, just being awesome again. And I don't remember the last movie I saw with her. And it's just very heartwarming. I don't know. Kind of recommend.
I don't even know what else I've seen that I've really liked, but I did see Devil Wears Prada too. I really liked it. Anyway.
I have so many theater movies to catch up on. I only have one more this week in writing before we launch into our topic. Should we go?
Go. Yeah,
Okay.
Take us home.
So recently I've been seeing some interviews, which I think we've kind of reposted some of them as well, from Rian Johnson and Chris Nolan, talking about their process, I guess, before the script is ready. And they both talked about the importance of outlining, and not in the traditional sense, I guess, more just generally about getting structure down, getting where the scenes go, really hammering out turning points, and just like a kind of like 50,000 foot view of the movie and then moving closer and closer and closer. But it sounds like they don't sit and actually like write character dialogue and write dynamics in scenes really until way late in the process. And I really liked hearing that, because I often feel like when I'm just dinking around with outline and structure, and like it doesn't feel like I'm writing. It feels like I'm almost avoiding writing sometimes. But as I've said before on this podcast, what I do in TV, which is highly structured, highly outlined, until you know everything before you even put words to the characters' mouths, has been my most successful way of writing. So it just really helped re-emphasize that point to me, that these, two of some of the most, best writers in our industry, and who I certainly look up to, tackle ideas this way, I think was just really important to remember that, outlining is your best friend.
I'm currently working on something with my manager, and it's been a while since we've been like in lockstep on something, but this process, our process, his process is outline, outline, outline. And it is like, we just did character background. Now we're doing like conspiracy stuff and this, and it's just getting deeper and deeper. And then before you know it, all these things are piled on top of each other. And you're like, oh, I kind of know exactly what I'm getting myself into, rather than kind of figuring it out along the way.
Yeah.
There is no right way. There is no wrong way. I'm just saying that's the current way I'm on with him. So yeah, it is very helpful.
Yeah, I very much approve, and it's a good reminder.
All right.
All right, let's get into our main topic today. Today is a listener question day. So we have 2 questions from listeners, and one is a follow-up question to an episode that we did, and one is a really random question that I really love as a nerdy organizing person.
Yes.
So the first question is from John Paul, who was talking about how in one of our episodes a little bit ago, Josh had mentioned that he had an idea that was very similar to the Brendan Fraser movie Rental Family, and that you had to kind of steer away from that. And, ultimately, like, your idea is, dead now because that movie has already come out. And John Paul was saying that he's had a very similar experience twice, in fact, where he was developing something to direct, and these 2 movies came out and were so similar that there was just no world where people would want to buy what he was doing now. So he had to kind of abandon it. And he was just curious, like, how many times does that happen to you, and what did it look like? And then B, what do you do in that situation? And I know it's happened to both of us in very different ways. So it happens to you more than it happens to me. So you go first.
All right. Well,
I'm always so heartbroken for you.
Me too. There's nothing worse.
It's to the point where every time you send me a trailer, I like don't want to click on it because I have PTSD. I'm like, oh no, is this gonna be a sad moment where it's like a take on one of Josh's awesome ideas?
I'll tell you the first time it really hurt was my James Bond script, which I loved more than anything. It was like near and dear to my heart. I've talked about this a million times. You've heard me talk about this, Tasha. It's probably boring at this point, but I loved the script.
It was, for context for people who don't remember, it's your Austin Film Festival success story script.
It was, yes, but that was also like I kind of felt just, not to get too personal about this, but like writing wise, I kind of was not myself. It wasn't until like I feel like I wrote that where I was like, I was just frustrated. I felt like I was just like, I'm just going to write exactly what I want to write, exactly how I want to write. The way I was writing kind of changed, and it just, for me, it was a very freeing.
That's actually a really good reminder. Yeah, like Josh previous to this James Bond script was rom-com Josh. Rom-com Josh is in there somewhere, but he's been taken over by his true form. He's now Voltron.
The funniest thing is everything's still a rom-com to me.
That's true. There's a lot of romantic elements.
With like killing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I wrote the script. We took it out. There was always someone like attached to it, the producers. There was like all this excitement and whatever. And then not long, and then it lost steam for whatever reason. This is a whole other story, but it lost steam, but it was always kind of like popping up in my life. And I was going on meetings with it. And like sometimes it would go to actors and an actor would be interested and all these things. And then about a year later, I heard about a script I saw a trailer or something for The Spy Who Dumped Me. And I was like, wait a minute, the premise of this is exactly the same. Like, what, did something happen? Where did this go? Who's the producer on this? I even was looking to did my script go to one of these producers and get redeveloped? Like that was the time that passed. It was almost as if my script went into development and then got changed into this. Like that would have been the perfect amount of time. That was the first time this happened, and it was a gut punch. And then referring to Rental Family, it was my script I wrote called Rental White Guy, which was an action comedy. Of course, the guy who's getting over a girl and goes and becomes this like rented individual in China and gets in some shit. And then, Rental Family just killed it. Those were like the two bigger examples, but it's just kind of like, oh my God, it happened again. There was another one, The In-Laws.
What was the movie that replaced In-Laws?
That was Engaged, or otherwise known as The Engagement.
That's yours. And yours was Engaged. Well,
yes.
What's In-Laws?
The In-Laws is this guy's getting married to a girl, and then like the mother and father-in-law are assassins.
Ah, that's right. God
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because you read your coverage on that one, and when we did our coverage episode, and one of the things that that reader had said was that the premise was not believable, and yet here we are. It exists in the world.
That one hurt too, is because that was a COVID script where it was actually, I had a director, we had an actor. I think that was with Heartbeat at the time, the Kevin Hart company, and then COVID happened, and they just kind of went away, and no one knew what was going on, obviously. And then like a year later, I was like, oh, The In-Laws, cool. This is great.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, I just kind of look at them now as samples. Some of them I've looked at of how I could tweak it. So much time passes that they almost forget about the other movie.
100%.
And that has happened as well.
I feel like your James Bond script absolutely could get made right now. If you did another pass on it, because you're now a better writer, there's no reason why. I don't even remember the other movie, and I liked it and watched it.
Should I just take it out again?
Listen, you didn't hear it here, but yes. Don't tell Jay-Z I said it, but yes.
Jay-Z would be like, no.
Just send it to your friend. Yeah, send it to the producers you already know.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, it's time. I have one major story that this happened to me in a very egregious way, which is I had taken 5 years to develop a pilot. If you remember, Josh, The Woman.
I remember. I know where you're going with this.
The name changed a bunch of times because I'm really bad at titles. But
can I just say, I remember when that first got submitted and the character was the woman. It was called The Woman.
Yeah.
And wait, was it called The Woman?
Yeah.
Was it? Okay. And I remember just every note for like 4 straight writers groups. I'd be like, I think you need to give her a name. And you were like, no,
No.
just not, she's the woman.
Yeah.
It was the right call, by the way.
She remains the woman. Yeah, but the title has changed. Which is going to be really hard if I ever get to make this, to just have no one address her by name. Hey, you.
Hey, woman.
I'll figure it out. It's worth it. But I had developed this for 5 years, and it started actually as, I don't know if you all remember my story, but I pitched on Red Sonja, the movie I ended up writing years ago before I ever got hired to do it. And they did not hire me at that time. But that I loved the original pitch that I had created for that. I loved it so much that I developed it into a movie that was totally separate from anything regarding Red Sonja. It was my own thing. And then my manager, I got a new manager who I'm still with now, and she read it and she was like, no, but I see so much good in it and I see your passion in it. How do we make this realistic? Meaning not like grounded realistic that way, but how do we make it realistic for the market? How do we make someone want to buy this? Because it was just a giant fantasy thing, like you're talking about with James Bond. Like it was just the thing I loved and really wanted to write at the time. And she could sense that passion, but it wasn't marketable as is. So then we partnered with a producer and we started talking about an IP that we could wrap it around that would make sense, that wouldn't change it fundamentally, that would actually enhance it. And we ended up on King Arthur. And it became a really cool King Arthur story. And we now turned it from a movie into a pilot. And for 5 years, I was working on this thing, you guys. And it is still one of the best things I've ever written, I think. I put a lot of sweat and tears in it. Josh remembers tireless submissions to writers group and me being like, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And then yet I would have another draft. It was tough. And then finally it was done. I had written an episode 2. Wait, let me take this step back. I had written the pilot and then I'd written a Bible and, hired a designer and we did this really cool, deck basically for it. And then we took it out and, I'm trying to remember the steps taken here. We were about to take it out is what was going on. And we just got word that Frank Miller, the comic book writer of 300 and Sin City, was going into or had just sold or was going into production basically like at the same time with a show that was about King Arthur, and it was about the women in King Arthur, which was exactly what my story was. The story of King Arthur, but through the eyes of the women. And it was the most horrifying thing. I remember being in Michael's in Arizona with my mom because it was like Christmas time. And I get this terrible call that like, I'm so sorry, this project is dead. We can't do anything with it. We have to sit on it because of this Frank Miller thing. And it was kind of like, I think we just like have to play it out and we have to see what happens. But literally we were days from taking this out. And it was like, sorry, we have to just sit on it now.
Oh, that is the worst.
It is the worst. But like, to answer kind of John Paul's question about how the different ways that this can look, for me, eventually, that show came out in 2020, but like eventually we sold my show to Amazon and we had director attached. I got hired to write an episode 2 and to write a format document. Like we were going. And then it got killed at Amazon for a different reason. But we were able to like take a break, rest, let that show come out and then present it again. So even with that show having come out in 2020, we were still able to sell this as different, like the more adult version, the more elevated version. But we did have to sit on it for a while. And then after Amazon kind of killed it over there, it was just sort of dead. It was just sort of sitting there. But Josh, I kid you not, last week I got on a Zoom with the old producer of the project and he wants to take it out again.
That's amazing. I love this.
It never dies.
It never dies.
It never has to die.
Right.
Because it exists. It is there. We could send it whenever. It just might be at a different time. It just might be a little further down the road.
script, it's also a reminder where if you have a producer on one of these projects, that producer also is invested, right? So
Yeah.
they're also thinking about this and they're like, oh my God, like years go by. It's not, as a writer, it's not just you. This is why a good producer is great, is because they are also thinking about this. And that's the benefit and the beauty of having someone who actually cares about the script.
Yeah, that is a really good point. And something I've been thinking a lot about lately, because I'm taking a spec out and we've been talking about producers to partner with and how important it is to find a producer who can and wants to invest in the spec, not just sell it. Because if you just sell it, like that's so great, obviously for your bank account, but also like so that person's not invested in the script and in making the script because they had no piece of it. It's not
Yeah.
close to their heart. But if a producer actually like works with you on a pass to kind of, I don't know, even just punch up dialogue, they feel like it's a part of them. And yeah, it becomes something they care about as well, even if it dies a little bit. They want to rejuvenate it. So I agree with that. So John Paul, I hope that answers your question. I wouldn't feel disheartened. There's always room for your version of what this is. And Hollywood has a very short memory in the sense that these movies will come out and then they will go away and they will have forgotten that it was made.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's so weird. Hopefully we didn't confuse John Paul.
I don't think so.
Nah.
Yeah, you got this.
You're good.
Yeah. The second question is real nerdy, and I love it.
Mhm.
It comes from Jill, who just asked, how do you organize your scripts so you can keep track of them? And I think this is such a good question because we all have folders on our desktop that are just filled with different versions of our scripts. And sometimes we'll go crazy. We're like, I just want to do a crazy pass where I take out the villain of this and just see how this plays. And then you're like, ooh, I don't want to ever use that again. So you want to keep that aside. But maybe a scene was really good in that and you want to make sure you keep it so it's just kind of there. But then how do you keep track of these things? Because then it just becomes chaos. So I like this question. Josh, do you have any sort of specific way that you organize your scripts and also like title them? Not just organize them in files, but like do you title them in a certain way?
I'll title them, and then I stopped putting dates because I wrote so many drafts that it would just be completely confusing to me. So now I basically will title it. Hopefully it's not called Untitled, but or like, whatever, Christmas underscore, 1. And then that'll just be my first draft, and then underscore 2. Then I'm always working in on that second draft. However, if I'm tinkering with certain scenes, I'll actually just make separate, like, John and Jill scene, whatever, and then I'll just have that separately. And I don't know. I have no method. That's it. That's my method.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then if
Yeah.
you do something specific, if you've ever done just like, I'm just gonna do a character pass, like
Mhm.
I'm gonna make Jill funny
Yeah.
in this one, would you do like Christmas underscore funny version of Jill underscore V1?
Yeah. So I know it's still that draft number with that specific pass.
Yeah. I will do that if it's radical. Like if it's a very radical change that I'm trying, I will definitely title it like that. But typically I just do the woman
Yeah, the woman.
underscore V1. Sometimes I'll put the date because I'm doing it more and more because I've realized that sometimes I'll accidentally open a draft and accidentally save it. And it's not technically from today, it's from like 5 years ago. But because I saved it on accident, now it says this date. And that's
Yeah.
just like very confusing. So I will often put the date now just to make sure what it is. And then I just V1, V2, V3. I also do like the woman underscore omit scenes, which is when I go through I go through my current script. Sometimes I'll just take out whole scenes or revise them entirely, but I'll keep that scene, copy and paste it into my omit. And it's just like a running final draft that's kind of separated. The scenes are separated by stars or asterisks so that I just like know where each scene ends. But just so I have like a running document of scenes I've cut so that nothing is ever cut permanently,
Yeah.
which really helps me because I've definitely gotten to a place where I'm like, fuck, that other scene was better. but I don't have that version anymore.
Do you want to hear the nerdiest thing ever that's probably going to give you anxiety?
Yeah.
Okay, so I once had my iPad, and I was like, I'm going to write on my iPad. And I save all my stuff into Dropbox. So I go into my iPad, and I couldn't open Dropbox. For some reason, like the password wasn't working. I was like, oh my God. I had this idea where I thought, okay, well, I'll just copy all of my Dropbox folders or files and put them into the iCloud.
Oh, God.
And so I was like, okay, great. And then I thought that whenever I updated into Dropbox,
Oh,
it
God.
would just automatically update into iCloud. And so I copied and I was doing the thing. And then I started to save folders in my Apple iCloud because I was like, oh, this is working pretty well, actually. Then one day I was like looking for one of the files and I couldn't find it in Dropbox. And then I was like, wait a minute, have I been saving to iCloud or Dropbox? And I couldn't even remember anymore because there was so much going on. And it took me like 3 hours to find something one time. And I was losing my mind because it was one of those things where it was like, I know I wrote this. I know this exists. And then you're like second guessing if that is the correct file. And then you're starting to look at the date it was created and the date it was modified. And
my heart is racing. I don't like that.
No, it was horrible. It was horrible. I still don't know what I'm doing.
There's nothing like the fear of thinking you've lost work. You know,
oh my God.
It's because, you know, genius hits at a certain time. And like, if you've lost that, you're not getting it back.
Yeah.
The second part of Jill's question is she's curious if agents or studio execs have requested any specific format for files. Have you faced this at all, Joshua Hallman?
Oh, no, never. Have you?
This is something I'll say. Typically for all of us, really, before we send anything to our agent or a studio exec, it's probably like version 10. I will never, in that file name, send my agent or studio exec the woman V10. Never, ever will they ever see that. For them, it is draft 1.
Always.
It's always draft 1. So what I will do is I will say the woman _ probably the date or first draft _ the date. I do want it to be clear because if they save it on their desktop or if their assistant has to go find it, make it really easy for them to find. I will also usually, if I'm sending it to a studio, will put my name in it. So like the woman _ Hugh _ date or _ first draft _ date. It's okay if it's a little bit long. Don't get too ridiculous, of course. But that tends to be what I do. It's important, I think, when you're sending to an agent or an exec to have the date in it.
Yeah.
Because they will mark, when was this submitted? Which draft is this? That does become important to them. So I would say that. I also capitalize that. That's totally up to you, but I will capitalize the title and usually capitalize my name, just so it kind of stands out to them. Again, if they save it on their desktop of a million other scripts, it's very clear. I also recently saw someone do something kind of interesting that I've not seen before, where they'll say like the woman _ 1D, which means first draft.
Yeah.
2D would mean second draft.
Yeah.
And then if it's internal, which in this case it was just between me and the writer before we'd sent it to the studio, she would write 2D internal.
Oh, interesting.
And do it that way. And also when we send notes back and forth, so for this writer, I'm supervising for a pilot for a show that she's doing. So, 2D internal. And then when she would be sending me notes, she would do it through Final Draft. So she'd leave like margin notes or changes or whatever in Final Draft. So when she sent it back to me, it would be 2D internal and then her initials notes, so that it's very clear when I save that document that that's her version of it, which is always really helpful as well.
I definitely think if you're supervising in your case, or if you're working on something with someone, then all bets are kind of off. It's very specific. This is the date, the draft, internal, external, whatever. But in terms of if it's going wide and I know that the draft or the version is going to be shared, I've never had any specific requests.
No. Yeah, just as long as it's clear.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll say is that there's a difference between an asterisk draft and a clean draft, and that's often in a title as well. And the difference is that if you are doing changes in a draft and you decide to do sort of like I think that's called a revision mode. In Final Draft, it's called revision mode, where if I go in and make changes, it now highlights that section as a new color, but also will put a little asterisk in the margin. And that really helps new readers if they've already read 5 versions of this and they just ask you to revise one scene. They can flip through the script and very easily see the asterisk section that you have changed, and then they can just read that. And it just is a very quick identifier. And sometimes studios will ask you for the asterisk draft so that they can see those changes. What I like to do and what they often request is sending an asterisk draft and a clean draft, which means it is the same draft, but you highlight all and then you get rid of the asterisk marks.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the studio exec has a boss. And when I send my asterisk version with all of the changes we've discussed to the studio exec, they want to look at those changes. They want to be great. Okay, these changes look great. But I'm going to send the clean version to my boss so that, again, the boss sees what seems like the first draft, not with a bunch of revision marks in it. So that's just something to keep in mind, that that's how we word it, as asterisk draft and then the clean draft.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
Yeah.
The rest is up to you. You get to decide whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah. It's perfect.
I don't really like rules when it comes to naming things. As long as it's clear.
Yeah, dude.
Who cares?
Who cares? Best script ever.
Moneymaker.
Will sell.
That's our nerdy chat for this episode. I'm looking forward, Josh, to talking about summer blockbusters.
Yeah.
So let's get into that next time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take us out today with the quote of the day. Don't tell me the moon is shining. Show me the glint of light on broken glass. Anton Chekhov. Please remember to rate and subscribe. Follow us at ActTwoWriters for more awesome writing stuff. You can follow me, Tasha, at Story Thursday on Instagram.
And I am Josh Hallman on Instagram.
And as always, the Act Two podcast is a production of Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter. This episode was edited by Paul Lundquist.